What's up and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the film The Mummy. Now this is a reboot of the Mummy film series. You know, they had the original one back in the 30s, then they had the ones like in the 90s, you know, with Brendan Fraser, but this is actually like another reboot of the series. But this is intended to be a part of like a whole big franchise from Universal known as the Dark Universe, which would like consist of all like the classic Universal monster movies like I think like The Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula, you know, Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Invisible Man, and so on, you know. So this is part of like a much larger universe, and they're hoping that it's a succession because they can continue on with like reboots of these other like classic monster films, you know. Now this film stars Tom Cruise, you know, and this is kind of an unusual role for him. But he has done like films like this before, you know, like Interview with the Vampire, you know, that dealt with like vampires and so on, you know. So he's done these kind of films before, you know, but that was kind of like, you know, an odd choice, you know, you would think from the get-go, you know. But then I thought this was an entertaining film, you know. It has like the same like, you know, like a concept of them finding like a ancient tomb, which is like 5,000 years old or something like that. And inside you have like a princess, you know, who's like she was like a princess back to like Egypt, you know, like way back like thousands of years, yeah, 5,000 years ago, basically, you know. And she turned on like her father, you know, she cut her father's throat. She also killed his son, you know, which was actually her little brother, you know. She actually cuts her little brother's like throat, like the baby, when he's still a baby too as well, you know. So because of these actions, you know, like the fellow like I don't know what you call them, you know, they I guess like his guards and stuff, like his servants and stuff, they actually banished her basically, you know, they put us like a coffin, you know, and like sealed her away and buried her, you know. Now it's kind of different from like the ones they have for like Brendan Fraser. It's kind of different from that. I remember when they did that Mummy Imhotep, they put like scarabs and like bug looking things, they put all that on him and everything. Then they put him inside like the coffin, you know, but this time they didn't do this with this particular mummy, you know. Because the film, it kind of opens with that at the beginning, you know, like it gives you like a glimpse of this new mummy known as Amunet, and she's played by Sophia Boutella. You get kind of like a glimpse of her, you know, but then like later on in the film, you actually have, well actually it is like Russell Crowe, like the character he is playing is Dr. Henry Jekyll, you know, who becomes Dr. Jekyll, well, you know, Mr. Hyde, you know, so he's like both Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But he's actually the one that's kind of telling the story of the film itself, you know, and he kind of gives like the origins of Amunet, you know, like her being like the princess, you know, how she betrayed and killed her father and her little brother and so on, you know, they sealed her away. So he's kind of giving like the details of what happened in the past, you know. Then of course, you know, Tom Cruise, he shows up and he plays Nick Morton, who's like a former U.S. military officer, and he somehow unearths like the coffin that Amunet is in, you know, and that is what releases her and brings her back to life, you know. Now that scene I thought was kind of, you know, it was kind of like cheesy, you know. Plus like the look of like the mummies themselves and everything, I thought it was kind of cheesy looking, but it was still like fun, you know. It's like entertaining, you know, and exciting, you know. Like Amunet's purpose, like they don't really like explain fully what her purpose like really is, you know, like what she's after, you know. It seems that she was actually trying to get Tom Cruise like character Nick, you know, she's actually after him to like stop him, you know, and like sacrifice him, but it's like they don't really go into like enough details of why she's doing what she's doing. But then again, she was accidentally resurrected, you know, so it's like she doesn't really need a point for what she's like doing, you know, basically, you know. But in overall, I thought this was the film, like I said, had like some cheesy moments, but I thought it was still like entertaining, you know. Like you have like Tom Cruise, who is cool in the role of Nick Morton. I thought he was decent, you know. Sophia Boutella as the mummy, I thought she kind of gave like a good performance as this new version of the mummy, which is a woman, you know. And I thought Annabella Wallace as Jennifer, or Jenny, you know, she's like I guess you could say the love interest of the film. She was pretty cool and decent, you know. And you also have Courtney B. Vance, who makes like an appearance in the film as Colonel Greenway, but he's really not in the film that long, you know. But then you have another character who I thought was funny. His name is Chris, you know, and he's played by Jake Johnson. Now he supposedly is like dead, you know, but like Tom Cruise's character, he actually sees visions of him throughout the film, and it's kind of funny, you know, because he's actually dead, you know. So I thought that was kind of cool, you know. And then of course you have Russell Crowe as Dr. Henry Jekyll, and I thought to me he was kind of like the most interesting part of the film, you know, because he's a part of the much larger like Dark Universe, which they're planning on doing, you know, like with the classic monsters, they're planning on rebooting all their film franchises, you know, Universal. So I thought he was kind of the standout performance in the film, you know, itself, you know. Now this is directed by Alex Kurtzman, and I thought he did a pretty good job on the film. The overall like look of the film, like at times it could be cheesy, you know, but those kind of horror films were kind of cheesy, you know, at times, but they were still like fun, you know, and entertaining, you know. But like I said, those are the big things of the film. You know, like I like that they had like the eggs, like the Easter eggs. You know, which are connected to like the other horror films. If they do these films, you know, at one point I don't want to spoil it, you know, but you get to see like look like glimpses of like some of the other creatures that you know that are on the way. If this film turns out to be a success and they can continue the dark universe, you get to see some of the glimpses. Like you see like I think like vampire teeth, which could be like Dracula or something like that. You also see like the creature from the Black Lagoon, like his hand, like the gill hand. You get to see that at one point, you know. So I thought that was kind of cool. Plus you get to see like little flashes of Mr. Hyde with Dr. Jekyll himself. You know, like with Russell Crowe, he has to take serum to keep Mr. Hyde from like coming out. You know, so I thought that was kind of cool. You know. Now, the only thing about it kind of drags at times, and like I said, like and I feel like the antagonist herself, the mummy, you know, Amina, I feel like she could have been like more powerful because, you know, she was able to do all these things, but yet they can actually just beat her real easily, you know. So I thought she could have been much more of like a threatening presence, you know. It's like she wasn't like scary or threatening enough, but she was still kind of cool, you know, and decent, you know. But then I'm giving the mummy, I'm giving this a B minus, and I would recommend this for like fans of like this genre, you know, these horror films, you know. And that's my review for the mummy. I'm giving it a B minus. Oh yeah, and please subscribe and comment too as well. Alright.